afternoon and welcome to TV3 Midday News. We're coming to you from the News Hub at Adesawe, Kanda. I am Wendy Lai. In this edition, completed buildings at Sakumo Ramsar site will not be demolished. President cast sword for Kumasi roads facelift. And on international front, Zimbabwe presidential inauguration delayed after results challenged. And now the details. 6 residents at Bubuashi Cable and Wireless have been arrested by the Okaigwe South Metropolitan Office of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly for failing to participate in a cleanup exercise. The District Environmental Health Officer of Okaigwe South Metro, Joseph Asitanga, said the Assembly will vigorously enforce all sanitation bylaws to ensure a cleaner environment.
The Okaigwe South Metro of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly Task Force arrested 6 residents of Bubuashi Cable and Wireless for flouting the sanitation bylaws. The task force arrested the residents for selling on the shoulders of the street while the cleanup exercise was ongoing. They were charged for flouting the bylaws and will appear before disciplinary committee of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly for sanctions.
We have set up an enforcement program called Sniper, which every Monday to Wednesday, we mass all our staff from the various sub-metros to a particular area where sanitation is at stake. So this exercise today is going to be a sustained one. We're going to continue.
Hundreds of mechanics at Bubuashi Cable and Wireless thronged the streets of Accra to execute a cleanup exercise. The 4-hour cleanup exercise saw residents desilting gutters and clearing mosquito breeding places. The District Environmental Health Officer of Okaigwe South Metro, Joseph Asitanga, said the exercise will augment the President's call to make Accra the cleanest city in Africa. The chairman of the Okaigwe South Metro of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, Ibrahim Ankra, believes sanitation can be managed well if the Assembly enforces its bylaws. The General Secretary of the Cable and Wireless Mechanics Association, David Atta, said the association will support the President's call to make Accra the cleanest city in Africa.
The Minister for Environment, Science and Technology, as well as Innovation, Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng, has suggested the ban on chewing gum as one way of tackling the menace of plastic waste in the country. Now, speaking on the sidelines of a sensitization seminar on the implementation of Hazardous and Electronic Waste Control Management Act 917 in Accra, the sector minister said he did not believe the complete ban of plastics as there were bigger problems confronting the sector.
We are in the process of preparing our plastic management policy, and we hope that by October, November, we should have that one, so that we can deal with it, so that when we all agree on what to do, everybody will buy into it. Personally, I'm not in favor of total ban from the very beginning, because we have other challenges. I mean, from illegal mining with pollution of water bodies, people in the communities are not able to use river water as they did in the past. So everybody is using plastic, sachet water and things like that. So we may have to start with, let's say, the ban of shopping bags, plastic bags, straws for drinking, and also probably chewing gum. I mean, those who like chewing gum, we can ban those things. With regard to the plastic at the beaches, most of it doesn't originate from the beach, from inland. So we all have to, keep our environment clean, know how to dispose of things, and do recycling, try to segregate the waste at source, so that these things can be managed properly.
You're still watching Midday Live with me, Wendy Lai. And players in technical and vocational training are asking for adequate resourcing of technical and vocational institutions to impact practical skills in the youth. Technical and vocational skills training is touted as the key to unlocking Ghana's economic development. But interest groups feel government is paying lip service and not assisting private institutions to train the youth for industry.
There's a saying that those who enroll on TVET these institutions are those who could not make it at this in BCE or even at this in SHL this in level. So that respect is not there. So long as the respect is not there, the students and the teachers will not be motivated enough to do the job. And if there's no motivation, what it means is that productivity and performance will also be very low. Another issue has to do with resourcing. You see, we need to resource all the TVET institutions so that with the needed equipment and teaching and learning materials, other teaching and learning materials, so that the facilitators will be able to give the needed training needed by the students to be able to perform at the workplace.
Another area that you touch on is the curriculum that we are using now. You called for a paradigm shift. What is the curriculum structure now?
It's full of theories. And I did say that theories are good. But if you teach the students the theories, you have to teach them how to translate, how to apply the theories to be able to produce this in something. It's not just about teaching them the theories without recourse to directing them how to use the theories to be able to do a certain perform a certain task. The curriculum is said that the students are taught to acquire the skills that will help them gain employment. But I'm saying that the jobs are not there. The jobs are simply not there. So there should be a paradigm shift in our curriculum design whereby emphasis will be placed on what? Training our students to acquire the skills that would enable them establish their own businesses.
TVET sector thinks that the competency-based training is the proper approach for delivery of TVET in Ghana. And we expect that some kind of machinery to be put in place so that all TVET providers should be able to have access to such new ways of delivering TVET in Ghana. But I noticed that in our case, for example, it is not easy for us to be able to obtain the necessary requirements. All right, we are supposed to provide evidence of certain things and so on. So it's actually limiting us to the access of the new technologies and so on. Right. When it comes to implementing policies, for example, we also know that there is a skill development fund which is supposed to be able to support TVET activities in the country. But we notice that, again, there are a lot of inhibitions, and then we are not able to access.
When you say we, what do you mean?
I'm talking about association, for example, right? Private institutions, for example, are limited in being able to access these facilities.
Let's still stay in the Shanti region, but away from technical and vocational education. President Nana Akufo-Addo on Friday, at the start of his 5-day tour of the Shanti region, cut sword for the commencement of the Kumasi Roads Facelift Project. The project, funded by the Government of Ghana, Road Fund, and the French Development Agency, will ensure that 260 kilometers of roads within the Kumasi metropolis, Ejisu, Jabing, that's Setra East as well, Bekwai and Ngmampo municipal areas witness major improvements.
Speaking at the ceremony, President Akufo-Addo noted that the present state of roads in Kumasi does not befit its status as Ghana's second largest city, the reason why government is committed to improving quickly the condition of the roads in Kumasi and by extension in the Ashanti region. That is why government, through the Roads and Highways Ministry, has begun work on some critical roads in the region. These include the Kumasi Drainage and Roads Extension Project, which involves the construction of the Lake Road into a dual carriageway from the Coca-Cola bottling plant to Dompoasi Junction to reduce the incidence of flooding, construction of critical bridges and footbridges over the Sisai River to connect communities along the river, and asphaltic overlay of 10 kilometers of roads within the project area. Additionally, the president indicated the facelift project will involve the rehabilitation of 100 kilometers of roads within Kumasi and Mampong, and the construction of over 100 kilometers of highways and feeder roads in the region, all funded by a Sino-Hydro facility. The project, he added, will take into account the remodeling of the 4 runabouts between the Jiso and the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, and also asphaltic overlay on the 135 kilometers of roads within the Kumasi metropolis to deal with the issue of potholes and thereby give the roads in the metropolis a new lease of life. Other road projects in the offing include the construction of the Tamale Interchange, which will be the first interchange in the northern region, the construction of the Swami Interchange in the Ashanti region, the PTC Interchange in Takoradi in the western region, and the completion of the Sofa Line project.
I urge all those whose properties might be affected by the various projects to cooperate within the Ministry of Roads and Highways and other relevant state institutions in accessing the compensation due them. We shall ensure that fair and adequate compensation will be paid to all persons and properties that shall be affected.
These projects, the president said, represent an exciting phase in the infrastructural development, not only for Asante-Man, but for the entire country. Prior to the groundbreaking ceremony, President Akufo-Addo paid a courtesy call on the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II to inform him of his 5-day tour of the region and the activities he will be undertaking whilst in the region. The Asantehene, on his part, thanked President Akufo-Addo for the gesture.
And today is the second day the president is touring the Ashanti region, and a number of activities have been lined up for the president. Let's go onto the phone line and speak with our Ashanti regional correspondent, Benjamin Edo, who is currently with the president. Good afternoon, Benjamin.
Good afternoon.
Now, can you tell us where exactly you are and what are the activities lined up for the president today?
Yeah, today happens to be day 2 of the president visit in Asante region. As I'm speaking with you, we are at a North American farm. This farm is owned by Asante Regional Rep of the National Council. And then today's activities include a visit to most of the farmers involved with the planting for food and jobs. And then there's one factory project. Some of the priority areas that the president will be visiting today include Insita, Farmine, Bepopso, Untimi Farm, Asali Farm, and then North American Farm. So at the moment, we just left Insita Palace, where the president paid a courtesy call on the Parliament chief of Insita, where a lot of discussion were held. Basically, the chiefs and his elders were concerned about the probable nature of growth in the area, especially when farmers find it difficult to cut their farm to the marketing centers, so as the photo and then a drum market. So at the moment, we at North American, so the president is visiting embarked upon by this man that I'm talking about. He was supposed to be the chief of Asampakapo, a village in Sisakwama, because of the district of Asante region. So from here, we'll be visiting Woodme Farm, where the chairman of the MPP, Asante Regional Chairman of MPP, Chairman Bernard Entibo, is appropriately called Woodme. We have 10-acre farm in one of the villages within this particular district, where the president will be cutting a sword for commencement of this project to take off.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Benjamin Edu, for that update. You bring us some more in our subsequent bulletins. But away from that story, the Forestry Commission says encroachers who have built on the Sakumo Ramsey site and completed their houses will not suffer any form of demolition. Addressing a stakeholder meeting in Accra, Chief Executive Officer of the Commission, Kwadwo Owusu-Afriyie, maintained that though the encroachers have violated the law's punitive measures must be taken with a human face.
Ghana signed the Convention on Wetlands of International Importance as an intergovernmental treaty in Ramsar, Iran in 1971. The treaty was intended to promote the wise use and conservation of wetlands through local, regional and national actions and international cooperations. The Sakumo Ramsar site was subsequently established alongside 4 other coastal Ramsar sites in 1992 and is the only state-owned. The remaining 4 sites are owned by the chiefs and people of the respective traditional jurisdictions. The 13.6 square kilometer Sakumo Ramsar site is part of the lands acquired under the Tema Development Corporation from the Nungwastu. The Sakumo Ramsar site again acts as a flood control facility and a habitat for many wildlife species, particularly migratory birds from far and near. The site used to receive about 32,500 migratory birds, including 66 different species from Europe and Asia. Furthermore, the Sakumo Ramsar site allows some marine fishes safer grounds for breeding, thus supporting the livelihoods of over 300 fishermen. However, all these are no more happening because of the illegal development and siltation of the lagoon. Even though the Forestry Commission has been responsible for the judicious and sustainable management of the area, the Sakumo Ramsar site has suffered huge encroachment. The encroachment was first noticed in 2006 and not much was done to prevent it. This was due mainly to lack of funding and the activities of land guards sponsored by some chiefs and individuals. The Commission is now ready to redevelop the area for income generation opportunities, but appears to lack the political will. Its Chief Executive Kwadwo Owusu-Afriyie told a stakeholder meeting in Accra they cannot demolish completed houses.
But we are going to ensure that they atone tenancy with the Forestry Commission because the land is ours. So we want that to be made absolutely clear. Those houses completed that people are inhabiting, we will not demolish them. But short of that, any other structure, we will demolish them because we need the area for purposes for which the government acquired it.
The stakeholder meeting was to find appropriate means to address the challenge. Kwadwo Owusu-Afriyie again appealed to the police to assist the Commission fight land guards and help protect the staff undertake their mandates.
To other stories, and the attention of the Ghana National Fire Service has been drawn to a website, www.schoolgh.com/ purported to be for the service. Now, this website shows a medical list of shortlisted recruits in respect of the ongoing service recruitment exercise. Management of the Ghana National Fire Service wishes to inform the public that the list being circulated is fake and the website carrying the information is also fake and not the official website of the Ghana National Fire Service. A statement signed by the Divisional Fire Officer to that Ellis Robinson Okoye wrote, the said written examinations for the 2018 recruitments are still being marked. He urged the public to channel all concerns to www.joingnfs.com. The Ghana National Fire Service is again drawing public attention to the operations of some fake recruitment agencies. Management wishes to state that it is not engaged in any recruitment exercise or has it contracted any group or individuals. The statement said anyone who does business with an individual or group does it at his or her own risk. To some more stories, and a forum has been held at the Coconut Grove Regency Hotel to discuss commemorating the 20th anniversary of the International Criminal Court, ICC. A report by Osmano Rashid.
The International Criminal Court is an intergovernmental organization, an international tribunal that sits on The Hague, the Netherlands. The court participates in the global fight to end impunity, and through international criminal justice system, the court aims to hold those responsible and accountable for their crimes. Former Shraj boss Justice Emil Short made it known that the ICC provides assistance in reforming the legal system, adding that the ICC court cannot attain its goal alone, so he calls on the governments to support and accept the ICC. Justice Emil Short further said the ICC has a victim and witness protection program that uses both operational and procedural measures. He said the ICC is a court of last resort which seeks to complement and not replace national court.
The ICC can only step in where national jurisdictions are unwilling or unable to take up these cases. So, indeed, the ICC will be very glad to have the least number of cases when national judicial systems are fully functional and they are holding accountable persons who have committed these crimes.
The Executive Director of Africa Legal Aid at The Hague, Evelyn Nakuma, argues that criminal justice is appropriately executed domestically.
Many subscribe to the view that criminal justice should be done as close to home as possible. The closer justice is done to home, the greater its legitimacy. In Africa, we do not have much experience yet with transnational criminal justice. There is no guarantee, for example, that the proposed African Criminal Law Chamber, provided under the Malabo Protocol, will actually be able to deliver justice.
The majority of the cases that have gone before the ICC, the majority of them were referred by African states themselves. So that's where that argument doesn't really stand. Another crucial one is that if there is no crime, there will be no prosecution. And if Ghana is unwilling or unable to prosecute me, the ICC can get a hold of me.
The ranking member on the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament, Adams Mutawakilu, has criticized President Akufo-Addo for failing to reduce what the minority describes as a bloated government in his first reshuffle. Speaking on New Day, the Damongo MP said the poor performance of the Akufo-Addo-led government cannot justify the huge size of government, but the member of the MPP's communications team, Eric Chum, maintained the president is satisfied with the performance of his appointees and will not hesitate to remove any minister who he finds ineffective.
It is clear that after 1.5 years, the efficiency that the president expected this 110 ministers to perform is far, 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 far below expectation. If you do any survey anywhere, that the 110 ministers, what spectacular have they performed? They will tell you that they have not seen any. Sanitation is suffering, roads are suffering, water, we have problems. Do you get my point? One village, one dam, still now, they are one village, one dugout, not dam. One district, one factory, the minister has officially accepted that they haven't even done one. When you come to corruption perception index, we're getting worse because this 2016 corruption perception index is far better than the 2017 corruption perception index. And the way indicators things are moving, I won't be surprised if 2018 follows the same trend. So clearly, it shows that numbers do not necessarily lead to efficiency.
One of the things that the president seeks to achieve by making sure that people with the right expertise are given roles that will be most useful, and you can optimize the sort of expertise that they have. And I believe strongly that that would suffice. Of course, there was some kind of speculation as to who was going where, and I felt that, I mean, a lot of people were trying to second guess exactly the intentions of the president, but the Constitution also mandates him to make these decisions. And the fact that at the end of the day, if the good people of this country would want to see how well the NPP has done, will boil down to how well these ministers will do. And I think that nobody has lost sight of the fact that they're being watched keenly, and it's imperative that they operate in a manner that would inure to the benefit of this country.
However, from that story, Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire have brought to finality implementation of the ruling on the maritime disputes by the International Tribunal of the Law on the Sea. Speaking at a closing ceremony to adopt the implementation roadmap of the ruling, Attorney General Gloria Kufu was optimistic this will deepen the ties between both countries.
In 2014, Ghana took the case to ITLOS to dispel claims it has encroached Cote d'Ivoire's marine borders as part of oil exploration activities at Cape 3 Point off the shores of the Western region. The Special Chamber of ITLOS, in a unanimous decision on Saturday, September 23, 2017, ruled that there has not been any violation on the part of Ghana on Cote d'Ivoire's maritime boundary. A 16-member committee was established from both countries to develop a roadmap for the implementation of the ruling. The committee held its first meeting in May to develop the road and is back in Ghana to test the technicalities of the roadmap. A major feature in the implementation is a plotting of the 7 boundary coordinates as stipulated by the ruling. Attorney General Gloria Kufu explained that the coordinates of the ruling has been adhered to by both parties.
A decision has been rendered, and that has put paid to the dispute regarding our common maritime boundary. These meetings really essentially are about implementing the decision of the tribunal. So what is it? The tribunal provided coordinates, that is directional points that will enable us identify that line in the sea that separates the waters of the two countries.
Senior Minister Yao Safmafu, who is chair of the committee, lauded both sides for their commitment in peacefully implementing the ruling.
The editorial decision was a decision arising out of litigation. So yes, now everything in terms of that litigation is brought to rest. But we have agreed, based on the ITLOS decision and definition of the coordinates, to have the boundary drawn.
The technical teams on both sides are expected to begin plotting the coordinates of the ruling in the coming days.
You're still watching Midday Live. Please stay. Thanks for staying. Let's look at some more stories. And in Hain-Ululora Road in the Jirapa municipality of the Upper West region has been washed away 2 weeks after President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo inspected it. The 2 dams which were created through the expanding and graveling of the highway have washed away, thus hampering commuting in the area.
The Jirapa Ulo Hain Tumu Road has become a major link road for many vehicles traveling to the Upper East region and to neighboring Burkina Faso. The recent improvement of the Hain-Ulu Road has attracted truck drivers who now pass through Jirapa to Tumu. Farmers whose farms are at the other side of the road say they now find it difficult accessing their farms. Residents say they can no longer conduct business since they do not have an access to the market. Some commuters have appealed to government to do something about the road.
Here, they cannot do their business. If a big truck is coming, they cannot move unless some of them are turning away.
The Jirapa Municipal Chief Executive, Christian Amadou, said until the bridge is constructed, commercial activity in the area will remain halted.
The way it has happened, vehicles come and they cannot cross. So it means commercial activities have become halted. If you also look at it, some other people from Chapuru and Heng, they are farming around across the other side. And so they cannot cross, they can't go to their farms.
The Upper West Regional Director of the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, Isaac Seidu, has blamed the situation on the contractor for doing shoddy work.
You can't imagine someone doing such a project without considering bridges. There are no culverts. Even the old ones have been blocked off. You can see all the culverts has been blocked.
Chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Jean Mensah, has reiterated a commitment to work in the interest of Ghana. The EC chair made this remark at the Thanksgiving service in her honor, as well as 3 others. The Thanksgiving service was organized by the St. Mary's Old Girls Association, SMOGA. The short ceremony was in honor of 4 distinguished old students of the school, namely Her Ladyship Janet Enima Mafo and Joan Eyi King, both High Court judges, and lawyer and economist Elsie Ado Awadi, Second Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, and Madam Jean Mensah, the chairperson of the Electoral Commission. In her brief interaction with the media, the chairperson of the Electoral Commission assured Ghanaians that the commission under her leadership will work in line with the laws of Ghana.
I think we all acknowledge that God has chosen us to this role, and we pledge to serve our country in truth and in virtue, which is our motto, our school motto.
To other stories, an Event Vendors Association Ghana have officially been launched for public notice, growth and sustainability. The organization aims at organizing event vendors in Ghana to ensure delivery of delightful services to clients to make events memorable.
EVAC seeks to promote and encourage the highest level of ethics within the event planning industry while ensuring the maintenance of professional standards. The association promises to work with training institutions like GIMPA, NAFTI and HOTCAS to provide tailor-made training for its members. It will also facilitate mentorship programs for associate members to enable them acquire valuable experience to enhance service delivery. President of EVAC, Kate Hassan, spoke about the powerful influence the events planning landscape will have on the economy.
EVAC is not merely coming to add on to the conglomeration of associations in the country, but is keen on making meaningful impact in the creative arts space in Ghana. As a player in the creative arts space, I sincerely believe that the sector is under-resourced and its benefit yet to be fully realized by Ghana as a nation.
EVAC is open to all event planning, vendors or suppliers who are engaged in the event planning and management business. Graduates with masterclass or apprenticeship certificates can also join.
Chairman of the Public Accounts and Accountability Committee, PIAC, Dr. Steve Mantel, is unhappy about the lack of implementation of the committee's annual report. Speaking at a stakeholders forum, he cast doubt over the prudent management of Ghana's petroleum resources.
Petroleum is a non-renewable natural resource whose exploitation involves its transformation into financial assets for economic development. The petroleum reserves of a country reduce with every barrel extracted, hence the need to ensure sustainable management and efficient utilization of the proceeds from petroleum production. The Public Interest and Accountability Committee, PIAC, was created by the Petroleum Revenue Management Act, PRMA Act 815, to provide an independent oversight of the collection, allocation and utilization of Ghana's petroleum revenues. In pursuit of its mandate, PIAC has published 7 annual reports since 2011. However, this has not received the needed attention.
Let me concede that some of the reports have been acted on, but there are several other recommendations that are yet to be acted on. And so at one of PIAC's meetings, we decided that our mandate will not be fully served if we just restrict ourselves to making disclosures without ensuring that the recommendations we make are actually acted on. So first step, we met with the Auditor General and brought some of our adverse findings to his attention, with a view to getting the Auditor General to conduct audit investigations into particular projects.
Dr. Mantiao was of the opinion that Ghana has failed to prudently manage her petroleum resource.
The evidence we've gathered so far speaks to a certain widespread abuse in the use of petroleum revenues. In some instances, we've come up against non-existent projects funded with oil revenues. We've also come against a lot of shoddily executed projects that were executed and completed, and within a year, they're already deteriorating, speaking to low quality of materials and all that. To sum it up, I'll say no, the oil revenues have not been managed very well.
While PIAC's work has contributed to transparency, analysts say accountability is yet to be fully attained in the management of the petroleum revenues of Ghana.
Construction of the 330 solar-powered limited mechanized boreholes are scheduled for completion in communities across the middle belt of Ghana. The 1 million per constituency funded water projects are already at various levels of completion.
The middle belt comprises Eastern, Ashanti, and Bono-Ahafo regions. Under the 70% priority project of the infrastructure for poverty eradication of the 1 million per constituency fund, the Ashanti region is benefiting from 142 of the boreholes. 104 are in the Eastern region and 93 are in the Bono-Ahafo region. The water systems are to improve access to potable water.
Mechanized water system. As said, be say community will be a sorry anopa. Mini baby a mukomu nsuo mum na mejiri say e bia ehia de pa wo community a enkwala no sorry ntu anamon ko baabi enkosa nsuo ne ma.
The solar panel boreholes will relieve the community of the stress of water shortage. Children will not have to walk long distances for water, and water supply will be constant because of the availability of the sun.
Delft Water is a consulting agency for project and executive director Edrini Dacon says water quality analysis and civil works are complete. He assured beneficiaries of quality water supply.
Everything is in order. We have tested it at the Water Research Institute lab. We have done a bacteriological test and we have also done a physicochemical test. So the water is potable for human consumption.
Beneficiaries described project as timely. However, they want government to fast-track work.
You're still watching Midday Live with me, Wendy Lai. Next, we have sports shortly. Time now for international news. And Sunday's inauguration of Zimbabwe's President Emmerson Mnangagwa has been halted after the legal challenge by the opposition against election results. MDC leader Nelson Chamisa says he has evidence to show that he was cheated out of the July 30 presidential vote. His party says the poll was marred by mammoth theft and fraud, but the Electoral Commission insists that there was no skullduggery. Mr. Mnangagwa won 50.8% of the vote compared with Mr. Chamisa's 44.3%. Zimbabwe's opposition calls and allows the presidential candidates to legally challenge electoral results within 7 days of the winner being declared. The Constitutional Court now allows 14 days to rule on the legal challenge by the Movement for Democratic Change. The party must prove that any irregularities were grave enough to change the outcome of the vote. If it does this successfully, the court could order a recount or nullify the results altogether. Mr. Chamisa wants the court to declare him winner or call for fresh elections. By narrowly winning more than 50% of the votes, Mr. Mnangagwa, a member of the ruling ZANU-PF party, avoided a runoff election against the opposition. Some more international news. In Sudan's President Omar al-Bashir will run for a third term in 2020 after the ruling party backed him as its candidate. Mr. Bashir, 74, came to power in a military coup in 1989. He had said that after 2015 election that he would not run again. Sudan's constitution only allows 2 5-year terms, but it will be likely to be amended to accommodate Mr. Bashir's ambition. The party's advisory council chief said the decision to nominate Mr. Bashir was taken by the party at all levels. Mr. Bashir won 94% of the vote in the last election amid calls for opposition to boycott. Previous presidential elections have been criticized by human rights groups as lacking credibility. Mr. Bashir is wanted by the International Criminal Court for alleged crimes and genocide in the conflict-wrecked western region of Darfur. He, however, denies responsibility for the killings. Next, we have entertainment news. And this afternoon, we celebrate some of our veteran high-life musicians with specific focus on Akosua Chipong as she tries to save Ghana's face in terms of sanitation. Now, Akosua Chipong was born on November 17, 1969 in Accra, Ghana. Akosua Chipong began singing at an early age and was discovered by high-life artist Nana Ampedu in the 1990s and has since been consistent in the industry. She's regarded today as a high-life legend. Our celebrity for today deserves some accolades as she has embarked on a national sanitation project, referring to herself as the garbage woman. She vows to bend over backwards to see that this project rids the streets of Ghana of filth. Although Ghana is held in high esteem for several reasons, the country has been ranked the 7th filthiest country in the world. This, Akosua says, breaks her heart. The project, which was commenced at the Malam Market, has received massive backing from Ghana's strongest sanitation company, Sumlion. That'll be all for this afternoon. Let's take a look at the headline stories again. And completed buildings at Sakumu Ramses site will not be demolished. President cuts sword for Kumasi Roads facelift. And on the foreign front, Zimbabwe presidential inauguration delayed after results challenged. I am Wendy Lai. Thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of our programs. Do have a good afternoon.